Hi everyone, and welcome to 164 Diecast. In our fifth video, we are looking at the Hot Wheels two-car collector set called Surf's Up. This set, released in 2004, was one of a number of two-car sets released by Mattel and marketed towards adult collectors. This set showcases two 1940s Fords, an orange 1949 Woody with a surfboard on the roof, and a burgundy 1946 ragtop with the top lowered. They are set in an ocean backdrop diorama on a sand-colored base. When looking through the various seller websites, almost all sellers list this as either a 2002 or a 2003 release. The most likely cause for this is the copyright date listed on the box, which shows 2003. Even the Hot Wheels Wiki website lists this as a 2003 release. This is, however, not correct, for when we check the official Mattel Hot Wheels databases, we find Mattel actually released this set in 2004. You can find this information here. The product number for this set is 57291. Reviewing the Wikipedia website for the series of Ford automobiles built in the 1940s, we learn the Ford car was thoroughly updated in 1941 in preparation for a time of unpredictability surrounding World War II. The 1941 design would continue in an aborted 1942 model year and would be restarted in 1946 and produced until 1948, when the more modern 1949 Fords were ready. From this information, we see the impact the attack on Pearl Harbor had and how virtually all vehicle production was stopped until the war ended in 1945. As we move forward to 1946, which the Woody convertible in this set is based on, Wikipedia tells us the 1946 Ford was identical to the 1942 model under the skin, though a heavy new grille with horizontal bars and red accents refreshed the styling. The hood was widened by adding a center strip. The Wikipedia site also tells us the car driven by the character Biff Tannen in the 1985 movie Back to the Future was a black 1946 Ford Super Deluxe convertible. A 1946 Woody station wagon was used in the 1979 film The Muppet Movie. Ford again changed the body style of the sedans, station wagons, and convertibles in 1949. This body style continued to 1951 when it was again updated. This was Ford's first redesign of their passenger car vehicles after World War II and came 1 year after Ford introduced the F-150 line of pickup trucks. Ford also changed the trim level names for their passenger cars. Names such as Custom, Deluxe, and Super Deluxe were gone and replaced with names such as Tudor for the two-door coupe and four-door for the four-door sedan. You could buy the newly redesigned cars in station wagon and convertible models as well. You can read more about the 1946 Ford at en.wikipedia.org/wiki/1941 Ford. And the 1949 Fords at en.wikipedia.org/wiki/1949 Ford. When huge swells from a Pacific Ocean storm reach California's south-facing beaches, the words "surf up" spread quickly. And within hours, longboards, shortboards, and bodyboards are carving turns and catching air. It's when the sun, the sand, and the perfect curl create the perfect world. A setting which our customized 49 Ford Woody M46 Ford ragtop fit perfectly. Hold this Surf's Up 2-car set to your ear, and you can almost hear the waves crashing and the hot licks of a surf guitar. I hope you enjoyed this travel back in time with our look at this great 2-car collector set, and as always, thank you for stopping by 164 Diecast, and we will see you on the next video.